Well, good morning, everybody. This is Charles Calhoun, aka the Shade Tree Pro. Oh, once again, this video is brought to you by my FootJoy shoes, my Callaway golf clubs, and always my nice Under Armour shirt. Nike don't send me shirts, so I gotta give props to Under Armour. So the thing, as I always say, these companies do not endorse me, but it's always good to give them props. So what am I going to talk about this morning? I'm going to talk about a concept of, it's called the double pendulum. I was watching a video from a gentleman from the USGA. Paula Creamer was in this video. And they were talking about the double pendulum. The double pendulum being that a pendulum is the simplest of linear motions, back and forth, back and forth. So they were looking at the concept that from the shoulders here to the wrist, if you get those right, that creates the double pendulum action. Well, that sounds good, but as far as research, when you're doing research, you always got to account for all the variables. So if this was a straight line and my arm was perfectly fused together, then that double pendulum would work perfect. But the problem is that this elbow joint bends. And because it bends, it is a variable that must be accounted for. So when I'm striking a golf ball, and if I'm only thinking of that double pendulum action, then I'm kind of like this, if that's based on the concept of double pendulum. But because the elbow joint has a action, and then from my research, the most important action, then that variable has to be accounted for. So I just don't see or don't understand how you can definitively say that you are creating a double pendulum action. I don't agree with it, and I don't think when you do real science and research that you would agree with it as well. Now, if you were going from the arm, from the elbow to the hand, and calling that a double pendulum action, okay, I can get that. But the moment you move up to the shoulder, now you brought another variable into play. So I think that debunks the whole research. And I think what happens with us a lot, and eventually I'm gonna do a video when I feel like I'm ready for it. I mean, I got the information, but on vertical ground forces. I'm gonna do one on that. And you're going to learn something interesting. Sometimes we add stuff. It's kind of, I used a quote one time before. I said, you know, there's no need of adding salt to an already salty dish. So, but don't get me wrong, we're all trying to figure out the information. But you just can't throw this stuff out here unless you do some real research and really understand what's going on. And that's why you got to have some kind of concept of playing this game. People ask me, what is it that, well, Charles, what do you shoot? Well, I know for an absolute fact that I can shoot from 64 to 126, because 64 is the lowest I've ever shot and 126 is the highest. So I know I can meet those parameters. But the most important thing is that when you're doing any kind of research, make sure you have to account for all the variables. You just can't do it because it looks simple, because variables do come into play and they do make a difference. So when I'm setting up here, I don't even know if it's a word, but I call it a triple pendulum action. It's almost like that martial arts stick that, you can see it in the Jet Li's movie Fearless, where it's got two sticks here, one in the middle, and two chains there. You got to learn how to work that in comparison to learn how to work just your basic nunchuck. I forgot I don't remember what that's called. So when I set up here, and I know the variables that are in play, that it's not a double pendulum, it's more of a triple pendulum action. I guess I'm gonna call it that. So now when I know that, when I take my swing, I know for a fact is that if I have the top, the middle, and here, then all I have to do is be able to take the club back and make a golf swing. And seeing it makes it a lot easier because I know I have all the variables. I said it many times before, one of the biggest problems with the golf swing is that even the research and knowledge of it is that you're trying to put the pieces together. It's kind of like trying to put a 400-piece puzzle together when you only got 370 of the pieces. Now you can put them all together and you can get an idea of what it looks like, but until you put all the pieces together, then science or nothing else is going to really be able to tell you exact. Because once you have all the information, then it makes it easy for science. Brandel Chambly had put something up on the Golf Channel once before, and I saw it, and I responded to him, and I told him, I said, this was the cornerstone of my teaching, and it was written by Albert Einstein, when he said if he was given an hour to solve a difficult problem, he said that he would spend 55 minutes of that asking a question, and then it would take him only 5 minutes to solve the problem. Well, that's what I did with my entire research. And I know people may think the words that I say are a little bit different or whatever, but I'm saying words to the exact. So when I use a word like the first rib, when I use dorsiflexion in the toe, when I use bending the acetabulums over the femoral heads, see, I'm not putting you in a guessing mode. I'm telling you directly where to go. If I said, for an example, meet me here at Marriott, where I am, Marriott Grand Vista Golf Course here in Orlando, Florida. If I tell you to meet me at the golf course, then you could come here and be anywhere. But if I tell you to meet me at Grand Vista Marriott upstairs in the pro shop by the tailor-made golf clubs, the wedges, then you know precisely where to go. And I think that's where golf instruction fails sometimes, is that we just get you in the area, but we're not telling you exactly where you need to go. And that's why I came up and started talking about the double pendulum action, and or as I call it, the triple pendulum action, because that kind of always concerned me, because I think it's a great concept, but I just don't think all the information is there, and that allows the golfer in itself to be able to be their best golfer, to be able to swing, because everyone knows my argument is that I believe a swing is a swing. No hit, yeah, you hit the ball, but you still got to create a swing to do it. So, once again, feel all 1, 2, 3. Feel all 3 and try to get the control of all 3. And when you do, you might just swing like the Shade Tree Pro. Once again, this is Charles Calhoun, aka the Shade Tree Pro, and always good golfing.